Hi, David.
Are we alone?
So far,
No,
no.
time yet.
I've been very, very, what's the word? Uh, Ungenerous with all the information about where we're going. And so I haven't really shared it very widely because I didn't want to be inundated all at once at the beginning. But now more and more people know about it, but they may or may not turn up. Who knows? What I thought I'd do today is show you the whole of our remaining route. Can you, have I lost you? Maybe I have. I wonder if my signal's gone. You're motionless on my screen, but maybe I haven't lost you. Hope not. I'll keep talking with my mouth full of chocolate. Not because I want to talk with my mouth full of chocolate, but because, hang on, there we are. I hope you're popping back in now. Hi, David.
It said an unknown error.
Oh, I hope it wasn't at my end, although it doesn't actually make any difference. I'm sorry it happened.
I don't know. I think it was a Zoom error. It said join using your browser. I'm not doing that.
Right. Oh, how strange.
Yeah.
So I thought this time, because we're now vaguely approaching the end, and next Friday is the last day in April, so it could be the end. Well, it should be the end. So if we're there on Friday next week, we've got 5 days, well, 6 days, to cover these 12 and a half hours. So that's roughly 2 hours walk every day. And these are the places that are in the British Pilgrimage Trust route. And this does rather look like the absolute straight line, doesn't it, from London? But there's a Priory here, which is apparently worth a look. So that gives us an extra 2 hours, and it stops us having to walk through the Medway towns, which I'm sure are in their own way very charming, but it might be a bit same-ish. And then if we end at the Priory today, we can walk towards Newington, then maybe potter around here or something. It doesn't seem even to give us enough for the rest of the time, but maybe we'll find another detour.
A few side tracks.
Yeah. And maybe we could go off to this National Reserve and go on to the Isle of Sheppey. Maybe. But for now, here we are back at the Cathedral. It felt a bit dizzying to have so many people yesterday, didn't it?
Yeah, it alters it completely, doesn't it?
Yeah. And I really enjoyed it. I really, really enjoyed it. There's no but involved in that at all. I really enjoyed it. But the atmosphere was really remarkably different. And
this thing pops up a lot on Zoom about it's odd talking to strangers. I hear it a lot. Yeah.
Your Zoom tells you that you're talking to strangers?
No, they do. They mention it.
Oh, I see. Yes.
Yeah. Which I don't know. I never thought like
that. It's a very different world, isn't it? Have you got any more stories up your sleeve?
No, not at the moment. I can invent a few. I've been tweaking this other one I wrote the other day. But you read it and you see a word, you think that's not quite right.
Right. Yeah.
I'm sticking with it. Yeah.
I wonder if maybe I could do a story. I can't quite get my head around how I will do it while also doing this clicking thing. But I've got lots of stories up my sleeve. I suppose if we walked out relatively fast, I could do that. No, don't want to go backwards. One of those Google glitches where sometimes it doesn't want to let you go somewhere.
It only lets you go in one direction. I found 1 or 2 of those.
Love Lane.
Yeah. Well, why is it called Love Lane? This is a good one because there's love lanes everywhere.
Very good point. I had a happy realization this morning that if we get to Canterbury, we'll have beaten Chaucer because he never did.
No.
And then I also started thinking about who's my favourite storyteller and what's my favourite story in Chaucer. And I got a bit lost in that. And I think I asked you before, and you don't particularly have one, do you?
We've got this chap from Iceland, Reykjavik. He's going to probably be joining our group, literature group, which is very interesting because he's an expert on sagas and.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
The sagas. William Morris and the Victorians were very keen on the Icelandic sagas.
You get Orkney sagas as well, the Orkney saga.
That makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, we've got another little Google glitch, can't get past. That doesn't want me to go there. Jump to this place. Okay. Esplanade. I always like that word. It always sounds splendid.
They had somewhere ugly, they'd call it Esplanade.
Yeah, yeah.
But for the same reason Greenland's called Greenland.
And Iceland turns out to be fairly green, doesn't it?
Quite a bit of it is, yeah. They have plenty of.
So Greenland should have been called Iceland, and Iceland should have been called Greenland.
We've been right around Iceland, and there are a lot of mountains, but a lot of it is green.
It's a shame the sun's not out, because I bet this looks good when it is out.
You've got a nice view of the river there.
That looks like it might be a marina of the sort that Steve maybe had his dad's boat at.
Well, it dries out, and you've only got 5 minutes to get your boat in.
Yeah.
If it's cheap, you want to know why, don't you? Really?
Yeah, there's always a reason, isn't there? So I wonder now, which way are we going? Are we going away from the sea?
We're going west, actually.
Yeah, we are. We're going back the way we're going to pass by our Borstal place, aren't we?
I can see a little arrow there with the compass.
Yes.
Pointing north to the right, so.
Yeah.
We're heading west.
Yeah, well, there you are. I'm in the company of a sailor, so.
Yeah, these things.
And although I was in the Scouts, and we used to do this thing, orienteering. Do you know what that is?
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
I used to love it, actually.
The best thing about that sort of thing was you got out away from all the teachers.
Yes, exactly.
All the tyrants.
It felt very empowered to go out and to be trusted, at least relatively trusted, not to get terribly lost. Deviating away from the water. No, I don't want to do that. I want to stay over there. Oh, there's a path or something, but we can't get on it. That's where we want to be, on that path. But you can't go down there.
Excuse me, there's somebody at the door.
Yeah, please go ahead. I'll just keep chuntering to myself just for the sheer thrill of it. Right, so I've gone down there, past that park, which we couldn't walk through. And we are now in, well, I suppose it's still Rochester, is it? Or is it Chatham? Hang on, is that Rochester? Maybe. Yeah, Rochester East Ward, Chatham, Medway Maritime Hospital, Gillingham. So these are the Medway towns, which are sort of one town. Look, there's another Luton. Okay. Right, keep going. Right, back. Keep the park on our left. And wondering to myself, what parcel could David have? How interesting. We're going to be rejoining Borstal Street. And actually, I'm going to change hands because I really am genuinely starting to worry about getting RSI because I'm clicking the mouse multiple times. Yeah, at least once every second. And that's not good. Here we are, back on Borstal Street.
Right.
All resolved, satisfactory?
Deliver the table I ordered that is made for me.
Ah, great.
Just a small one to fit in a certain place. Bespoke.
Very nice. What, like a side table or?
Yeah, it's like a small dining table.
Oh, great.
So you can sit at it.
That's lovely. What are the elements of it that are bespoke? I mean,
The whole thing, it's the size and everything. You've made it completely.
Fantastic.
Yeah, because he does garden furniture and everything.
And how did that come about? How do you know each other? And
I know him from Yorkshire Ales.
Okay.
Because his sister, she still does own the property.
Right.
Because Yorkshire Ales rent it off her. But he used to be a milkman, but then his knee went, so he does a lot of garden furniture and all sorts of things like that.
Right. So it turns out that we're back under that same archway. And when Steve drew on it yesterday with his graffiti, he said, "Pilgrims this way." And I thought, actually, that's not the way we want to go. But he was right, because here we are.
Back.
And we are going that way.
He made it look like Doncaster.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a news report about Hartlepool, I suppose, because of the election. And I was thinking, it's a very unusual name. What do you know the reason why Hartlepool is called Hartlepool?
I don't really know. We round here they used to call it British West Hartlepool.
What does that mean?
It's a wind up.
Right. Okay.
And there used to be a joke that it had a Cameron's Brewery there. They used to brew various beers, which was popular in the steelworks at Middlesbrough. And apparently there was a joke that one day the brewery exploded and completely flattened Hartlepool, and it caused £3.96 worth of damage.
Right, that kind of joke. When I was little, we lived in Belgium, and it was just when Britain had joined the then common market. And I didn't know, I'd never heard of Belgians before. I was quite young. I didn't know there even was such a thing as Belgians. I thought they were sort of not quite French. And I subsequently learned to speak French a bit like a Belgian. And I discovered that at the time, it was very common for French people to laugh at Belgian accents. And I guess it's that same thing about laugh at your neighbours.
That's what they do, yeah. Yeah. The thing they did at Hartlepool was they renovated the HMS Warrior before it was taken to Portsmouth. It was taken there first, and they did a lot of work on it, made it seaworthy again. And
I confess, I didn't know that there was a shipyard there.
Yeah, there was a lot of shipyard activity at one time, across a port.
Right. Is it? You're in the north of Yorkshire, are you?
Well, it's East Riding actually, a bit.
Oh yeah, you said that. That's right. Yeah.
So we're south of York.
Yeah. And Hartlepool is north?
Yeah, it's way north. It's up in, it'll be in either Cleveland or Durham or somewhere.
Is it actually in Yorkshire? No.
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 No, it's the north of the Tees, isn't it, I think?
Yeah. I should probably know. My family, Flintoff, the name is quite common up there, apparently, in Cleveland and Middlesbrough. We used to have to explain it all the time because everyone thought we were Russian or something. And then Freddie Flintoff became well known, and now I don't have to explain it anymore.
That was all right after that one, yeah.
But he and I are from the branch that went mad and left Yorkshire and went to live in Lancashire.
I got a feeling a sail from Hartlepool in the middle of one night, and we went to look at a Northumbrian water authority had a fishery protection vessel. We went and sailed on that. I'm sure we went to Hartlepool docks to catch it, go on board. Because they had the biggest maggots you've ever seen. You could saddle them virtually. Terrible smell. My fish stocks always stink like that.
Right. I had a message from someone who couldn't make it yesterday, but she was very pleased to. She was another of Carmen's friends, and she was very pleased to sort of catch up with what had happened. And she's coming next Wednesday, so we mustn't finish before Wednesday.
Slow down, go in a pub somewhere and staying there all day.
Maybe this will be one of those priories that does its own beer. There was a documentary about a Trappist monastery in Leicestershire on the BBC, and one of their problems, probably very common for monasteries, is the monks are all getting old and dying, and their numbers are going down, and I don't know quite why that has anything to do with their income, but they stopped farming, so they just launched a new Trappist beer, and I've forgotten the name of it now. It's Tint Meadow. You never heard of that, have you?
No.
I might try it because it just looked so very appealing. I know Trappist beer is meant to be very good, isn't it?
There's a lot of monks in Belgium brew beer, isn't there? That's quite
yeah.
But I think all them Belgian people, I've been a few times to Belgium, but it's always been the Flemish speaking area.
Right.
Which is a strange country. Well, we've got two languages if we count Welsh, haven't we?
Yeah.
But
it's more obviously strange there because it really confronts you all the time. I mean, I remember everywhere in Brussels where we lived has two quite different sounding words for every street.
It's the Walloons that speak French, isn't it? Strange.
Yeah. Now, where am I going? No, not that way. I'm going this way. Have we just been past this? Am I going wrong? Yeah, I'm going the wrong way again.
You're going north.
Yeah, I don't think I meant to do that. Shrink that. No, I'm sure we're meant to be going south. Still, it's a nice old stone church. Yeah, there's the Priory. So we're not that far, actually. And it's only 10:02. So if we go around... What wood, or is it made of wood, your table?
Yes.
What kind of wood?
I'm not sure what sort of wood is made it of. It won't be oak or anything, it's because it's painted.
Right. Priories are nuns, aren't they? I think.
I'm not sure about a priory. I'm not sure about one. Nunnery as well, nunnery, obviously, but I wonder if they have them both at the Priory.
Aylesford Priory. Oh no, friars. Okay, I'll read that in a minute, but when we get there. So friars. I think friars were the ones who wandered around, as opposed to monks who stayed where they were.
What do they call it?
Mendicant.
Yeah, or I'm not into the word now. Because the word means wandering about. Well, you work everywhere anyway.
Right.
Come to me in a minute. Peripatetic.
Oh yes, yeah.
Sounds
slightly insulting, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's quite a good landscape. I think I'd quite like to walk the way that we've walked. I don't know about you, but I feel like if I've done this walk, even this way, I feel slightly familiar with it in a way that might make me want to do it this way again, in that sort of boringly routine way that human beings can be.
Village.
Oh, I've come off the track. There we go. Village Road, Woldham. New buildings here in 2018. They must be well lived in now. New River Medway crossing. Huh. Wonder if there is a new crossing. Maybe that's this crossing. Really haven't finished it off yet. I don't know what I'll do in my 2:30 to 3:15 slot after this is finished. It's become quite a... it's funny how it was very hard to get started and to try to make it a habit. And now it's going to feel hard to throw off.
At 4 o'clock, I go down to the Yorkshire Aylesford because we have a table booked for 3 hours from 4 to 7 for the 5 o'clock club.
Great.
It starts at 4, logically.
Oh, very good. So we're just at... This is really pretty, actually, isn't it?
Flat, isn't it? Right?
Yeah.
Close to the river, though, of course, isn't it?
I suppose it's also not that far away from Holland. I mean, it's our sort of closest bit to the flatness of the Netherlands. I haven't passed it, no. Okay. Oh, wait. Quick, get back on the path. Want me to go that way? Wow, I'm sure I'm not meant to be there, am I?
Yeah.
Yep. Old Church Road.
There's the old church.
It's another of those very small ones, isn't it? Quite flinty sort of bits of brick.
You could do with Pevsner's Guide.
Yes.
Kent or whatever.
Yeah. I walked past his house in reality yesterday when I was walking on Hampstead Heath. It turns out there's a little row of terraced houses and one of them belonged to him. It's got a blue plaque on it.
Yeah.
And we were wondering what he would have said about it in one of his printed guides.
I've got a couple of the London ones and the East Yorkshire one.
It doesn't want me to walk along this path.
I obviously haven't been down there. Yeah.
There ought to be a button where you not only can walk down the road, but you can sort of fly and levitate over this marshland or whatever it is. Well, we're not going anywhere along there. Well, we could just have a sandwich break.
Can you come out of it and get the aerial view?
Oh, I see. What, to come off the map?
Yeah, because it'll come up and you'll see where that lane is, because it'll be looking, it will keep the direction.
Yeah, so we've just gone.
Now that's a map, but it's not, I mean, the actual photo.
Oh, yes, okay, right. You mean this?
That's it.
Oh, yes, Burnham Marsh.
Then you can jump because you can see.
Yes. Oh, that's great. I don't know why I didn't think of that before. You thought of it. I don't know why we didn't have.
I thought of it because I do it. You know, when I get to somewhere I can't go down, I come out and then you can jump over it.
Yes. No wonder it's all marshes. And isn't that where I think Dickens had a big connection with the Medway towns? And I think
Yes, he did, yeah.
he hated it, didn't it?
He used to live there, didn't he?
Was that where he did his blacking factory?
No, that was Blackwall, wasn't it? In London itself.
Right. And he set that bit in Great Expectations when the criminal first encounters Pip, the boy. It's somewhere around here in the Kentish marshes, I think. That's quite
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. Those look like brick pits or something, or
Yeah.
gravel pits.
Fisheries. What's that town over there? Maybe that's Aylesford. Anyway, the beautiful snaking of the river. Look. Absolutely brilliant example of why not just cut through there and have done with it.
There's a bit there missing, let me say.
Yeah. So I guess we have to jump to somewhere like a path here. No, can't do it. There's no photograph. No, still no photograph.
Does it on the little man where all the roads light up that are available?
I think it's okay again here, maybe. No, not yet. Aylesford Solar Park. Oh, look, this is all solar panels.
Yeah.
Huh. Amazon UK Services Limited, Maidstone. I feel like we're snooping on the
Amazons.
Yeah. It's like those things they use to check out what China's up to.
Yeah. How they found Bin Laden, isn't it?
Yes.
You could see him in his back garden.
And maybe we can go here. No, the whole path doesn't want us on it. Aylesford Telephone Exchange. Come on. It's got to be possible, surely, to go to the Priory. Let's go to this roundabout, see if we can approach the Priory from slightly further off.
There we are.
Yeah, that looks like the right sort of see. Go there. The Priory visitors. Welcome. Private property. Grounds open to non-residents from dawn to dusk. Okay. And then I should read what it says about this place. No, not that way. Over here. Oh, it's nice, isn't it?
Mm.
This is a very unhurried walk today, I think. Just ambling around, nice weather. And I think it feels very good to get to the Priory like this. Because yesterday was a bit manic. I mean, it was great, but it was manic. Oh, look. Priory Pond. What else happens in the Priory? Tea room and shop, Pilgrim's Hall. Pilgrim's Hall? That's us.
Yeah.
They look like they might be pilgrims. Can't go in there. Oh, that's great.
Not bad.
That does look really nice. Shall I read you what it says in the book?
Yeah.
Okay. Aylesford Priory exists in a category almost of its own among British holy places. It contains the shrine of an English saint, but feels like a pilgrimage centre in southern Europe. On the weekday I visited, it was full of noisy children and contemplative pensioners, happily oblivious to each other in the July sunshine. St. Simon's stock is shared by Catholic and Anglican tradition. He is one of our native saints and died in 1265, long before the Reformation. Aylesford is perhaps the country's best example of a functioning saint's shrine. If you want to experience how most Christians regard relics, this is a good starting point. This shrine chapel was built in the 1950s but its stone walls and cloistered approach feel authentically ancient. Surely they don't mean this whole thing was. No, probably not. In a sense they are. St. Simon's Stock served as prior in this very monastery during the 13th century. Although little historical detail is known of St. Simon's life, some later histories claim that he was actually born in Aylesford too. More recently still, some modern historians have even cast doubt on whether he even existed. That's very disappointing when people say that, although the monastery itself is real enough. In later life, tradition relates that he became leader of the Carmelites and travelled widely to support their work. The Aylesford monastery was of course closed at the dissolution of the monasteries, but reopened by a Carmelite community of monks in 1949. They restored what they could of the surviving buildings and added a shrine chapel and other pilgrimage buildings. Nowadays, it's a thriving centre of spiritual activity offering retreat and conference facilities. At its heart are prayer and pilgrimage, which find focus in the central shrine chapel of St. Simon's Stock. The chapel is at the end of a wide courtyard, which is presumably this thing, do you think?
Could be.
Which has been designed for open-air worship. Oh, maybe not. A large statue of the Blessed Virgin faces into the courtyard, and to the left a doorway leads into St. Simon's Chapel. His relics are kept in a shrine behind the main altar with the saint's skull on display in an elaborate reliquary. You need to hold down a button to illuminate the saint's skull. How strange. An arrangement which caught the imagination of a group of school children when I visited. This is the only place I've viewed a relic under a sort of strobe lighting effect. St. Simon's skull was brought to Aylesford in 1951 from Bordeaux, where it had lain since his death in France in 1265. On the 16th of May, his saint's day. St. Simon is patron saint of Bordeaux, and most of his holy body remains in its cathedral. Gosh, and they brought his head back here. That's very strange. This chapel and the other pilgrimage buildings contain some outstanding works of devotional art. Look in St. Joseph's Chapel for some of the best examples. There are several works by Adam Kosowski, a Polish refugee from the Second World War who became a famous ceramic artist in Britain. A resident artist works in the monastery to this day. The Priory is often called the Friars, a name that appears on maps and road signs. It's open every day to any visitor. St. Simon might not be a household name, but he's a major influence on many Christians' lives today. According to a 14th century tradition, he once received a vision of the Blessed Virgin in which she told him that anyone wearing a Carmelite monk's habit when they died would be saved. These clothes are known as the brown scapular, a sort of apron-like cloak that hangs over the shoulders. From the late 16th century onwards, lay people as well as monks began wearing the scapular. To this day, many Catholics wear a cut-down version of the habit under their clothing. This looks a bit like a necklace with small cloth squares front and back. Nowadays, the Catholic Church is rather circumspect about claims for the scapular's efficacy. As they say, it can help the wearer stay alert to the requirements for salvation rather than offering salvation itself. There we are. I wonder if we could have a look at some of the things inside by looking at the picture. Because sometimes on the monasteries there is a...
You can go in, there's a picture inside somewhere. Yeah.
Photos, here we are. Ah, that's a nice court. That probably is the one that we were looking at, isn't it? Nice picture anyway. So that's the thing that I suppose was rebuilt in the 1950s. Although it could be older. Oh, look, this. Did it say ceramicist?
That looks like what we've got.
It does look good, doesn't it? So we are doing a sort of artistic tour. I can't move around in the picture. I can only zoom in, so I can't go look closer at those two. Oh, yes, I can. I wonder what it says on there. We're not going to be able to tell.
Not able to read that.
No.
Probably in Latin anyway. But
yeah. But perhaps one of them is St. Martin. Was it Martin? Simon, St. Simon.
Simon, I wonder what he would look like.
Yeah. I wonder if it was really just a ruin for hundreds of years after the Reformation.
There can't have been a lot there, can there? If it's been empty for 100 years or been used as a barn or...
Yeah. Oh, so that looks like ceramic ware, doesn't it?
Yes, tiled.
Ora pro nobis. Ah, yes, it said that about the courtyard. Oh, rather nice looking stuff. Worth a visit when I do it properly. Oh, and that's good, isn't it?
There's a plan.
Yeah. First aid hut, women's toilet, men's toilet. Pilgrim's Hall, main shrine, relic chapel. I wonder if anyone's taken a photograph of the... Shall I go on to the next picture?
The cloisters.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. I do slightly feel like I'm visiting a priory. I think that's partly to do with the fact that we have sort of walked here. We have sort of spent a bit of time in the development of the arrival.
Holy water.
Not drinking water, though, it says. Nicer typeface on holy water. Oh, that's nice. Walled garden, presumably. Cloisters again. On the Medway.
Black swan.
Yeah. Oh, and it's in use. And there are more of those pictures on the walls. Stories of, I suppose that's the finding in the temple. I don't know what that one is. Oh, I like this place. So that's the other wall, isn't it? That we're looking now away from where it was.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what we just looked at, what I thought was the finding in the temple. I don't know what that is. Someone getting married by the look of it. That is clearly the birth. That looks like a dream of something, someone. Is that an angel or something? Who knows? I always think it's really interesting how illustrations provide a different context to a story. You can see a picture of these biblical narratives. It doesn't undermine the story. It just gives it a very different nature. And it's a bit like when we were walking yesterday and suddenly you're hearing someone telling a story about the worms. The picture and the words have a very strange relationship. Is that a Polish flag? No. No, I think the Polish flag's got an eagle on it.
No, I thought it's just red and white. Like my
Yeah.
think about that.
Well, I think we've had a good tour.
It's a nice day when we took them pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, David.
Yeah.
It does make a lot of sense that they would put a priory where there are all these little ponds and on the river. You can see how they would do that.
I mean, those days they'd use the river for transport, probably, didn't they?
Yeah.
Depends how big it was.
Very close to the motorway, actually.
Yeah. And that sort of quite a the monks went to, well, not originally.
Probably not their main purpose. Aylesford pottery, that may be where the Polish potter was. Yeah. Anyway. Well, thank you very much, David.
Right, that's good.
Yeah, till next week.
We'll see you on Monday.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Nearly there. That was excellent, not today.
We're getting close.
Yeah.
Have a nice time at Yorkshire Ales.
We'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.